feels good. You know what I mean? Just it's just like another feather in the cap. Like as far as just somebody else acknowledging our achievements and what we did throughout our career. Just coming from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is just like a whole nother lift because it just takes hip hop into another dimension. You know what I mean? Where a lot of times people can't see the connection between hip hop and rock and roll, but actually, rock and roll started out as a black music term. Right. It wasn't like it was something. When you say rock and roll, everybody see rock guitars and the blonde, skinny white kid. Yeah. But rock and roll was actually a black term, so it's all music. So to put rap next to all the other great musics in history, and then to put Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five next to all the great groups in history, is definitely an honor when you look at it from that point of view. You know what? I think it's a little bit of both. I think it's more, I think more hip hop need more of rock and roll, because there's a lot about hip hop that's going on right now is not really valid. But I think their point of view is like to get to the Jay-Z's and maybe the 50 Cents, which they may or may not belong in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as far as being a trendsetter, and making music that actually makes a difference or just making good music. But I think that's what they wanted to get to. But, rap needs it because rap needs something to validate it. Without a doubt. I mean, as far as just the stats and just what we did, we still the most highly decorated group, and probably, in the history of the game. I won Grammys with Shaka Khan, the Record of the Year, first R&B record, first group to start hip hop, invented the name. Flash invented, the modern day DJing as we know it. The Furious Five, the first MCs, did the first stage show, won Grammys with Quincy Jones, record in the Library of Congress. If you look at all the real milestones in rap, we did them all. Everybody else just made a bunch of records. They made more money than us, if you want to look at it like that. You know what I mean? It's like if you look at LL, like a lot of people say LL is the greatest of all time. He could be, if you look at longevity and career and money, but if you look at whoever made all the milestones, it's me. You know what I mean? So that's hands down. But like a lot of people don't want to understand the history or understand the relevance of just being the first and making the milestone, because it's easy. You know what I mean? It's easy for BMW to make a car, but how do you make it without Ford making the Model T? And of course, the BMW is the better car. But you wouldn't have a clue had it not have been from that Model T. You know what I mean? So that's who we are. You know what I mean? We was the blueprint of everything to come after us. So it would only be two choices. It would be Run and us, and us over Run. That's heads or tails. They was a good group, but they didn't have the natural talent that Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five had. So that's why we went about with the costumes. Even before we made the records, when we used to always dress alike, and we wore the same thing people wore on the street, that it would always be uniform. We did dance steps, but everything just to separate us on a level like, it started out, it was just a rope between us and the audience. So we here and the audience is there. So we get on some lunch tables, now we here and the audience is here. But then, we get on the bigger stage, so it's all just to be more entertaining and have a definite mode of control over the audience. So when you put your show together, you could, dictate which way the crowd is going to go, or what the crowd is going to say, what everybody's going to do, and, just anticipate their reactions just to make for a better show. And not, running them thing was their connection to the audience was to take it back from where we was right back down to here, to look like your audience. You know what I mean? Even though they had a different sound, but they took it. They kind of went back. From an entertainment point of view, if you're going from the point of view of you're wanting to be entertaining and you're the star and the audience is the audience, the last thing you want to do is dress like your audience, because if you're looking at it from my perspective, you don't ever want your audience to think that they have a chance in a million years to be anything like you. And that's the one thing that Running Them did. I mean, it worked for them, but I don't think it was a detriment to, you know, to the game. Yeah, it's just perception. I mean, if you look like somebody, 9 times out of 10, you would think that what they can do, you can do. You know what I mean? So it brought it down to that. But in the interim, while all that is happening, you're eroding your talent level, the level of talent that it would take to be a rapper. You know, from the point from where we did it to the point that Running Them did it. I mean, even though they did have rap skills, but they didn't have the kind of skills that we had. And then leading up to, you know, it was like kind of like a golden era of where rap was. But then once you pass that era, everything after that is all downhill to whereas right now, you know, you got the Southern cats that they done moved everybody out and they don't rap at all. I mean, that's not, you know, they really don't rap at all. And then you got East Coast cats. I mean, I even thought that the record Mims, I thought he was a Southern cat because he just rapped down just like them, you know. So, I mean, it is what it is. But I mean, as far as just a talent level, what it take to really be an MC, all of that is gone because you know, talent is always supposed to evolve. You don't never take a step back, you know what I mean, or you don't never try to downshift because there's always talent. Talent evolves, and it got to the point where I guess, you know, like a lot of the cats, you know, throughout the hype part of it, throughout more, you know, with the MTVs and the BETs coming into the game, and like with all the corporate and the industry coming into the game, it was more like a gimmick or image than it was just, you know, the natural talent and just trying to move that talent forward to build a good group, like strong groups. I don't listen to rap, but it drives me crazy. I don't listen to a whole lot of rap like that. I listen to slow music. Like I'm more or less like a creator. I listen to whatever I hear in the party just so I can see the reaction of what the people has to music. But for me to listen to music, it served me no purpose because I'm trying to create music. You know what I mean? I wouldn't listen to somebody, you know, yeah, that's dope. Yeah, I like the way you did that line. It's neither here or there. It's a line. You know what I mean? I'm trying to, still stay current and focused. But my whole thing is you just trying to get a winning attitude, like this, you know, how a boxer would psych herself up before a fight. I listen to just regular slow music, maybe just to calm myself down and just to keep a certain amount of intensity. So if I got to write a rhyme, I could always just put it down and then coming from a thought that's basically my own and not you just hearing a lot of people's lyrics in your head, and then 90% of what you do is it's based on what somebody else did. You know what I mean? And that's the original way of doing things. It's like the one thing that people from back in the day, the worst thing that you could do is bite somebody's line. And like this is what we would never even do that a lot of cats do now. Like they'd ride around, then they say, and like so and so said, blah 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 blah. We would never do that. Your whole focus would have to be all your own focus. So for the amount of other material that you would need to listen to for you to create, that should be unnecessary. I mean, for years, I would never listen to rap at all. Only about maybe 6 or 7 years ago that I would actually listen to somebody's rhymes because the only reason I listen now is because you got to kind of downshift it. Because other than that, you writing over people's heads, so you kind of downshift it. So I just try to listen to the tempo of what's going on and seeing how the crowd react to it, you know, where the punchlines come in, where to put the metaphors. But other than that, just listening to rap, it'll drive you crazy.
Okay.
Hey, this is Manny Yarbrough, chilling here with the crew of Highbrid Nation. I'm here to tell you, check out Highbrid Nation or else.